Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and today we're going to do my top 10 coziest fragrances for winter. It's that time of the year where you want to basically hang out with your family, or you want to be with your significant other and you just want to kick it by the fireplace, or you just want to watch some TV, some Netflix. And these fragrances would be great for just hanging out and having that warm, cozy feeling. And with that being said, and without any further ado, let's begin with my number 10. My number 10, it's going to be Jubilation by House of Amouage. Now, this fragrance was originally launched in 2008. It's a beautiful Oriental Fougere type of a fragrance. Now, this fragrance is perfect for wintertime because it has this beautiful balsamicness to it. It's sweet at the same time. It's kind of smoky, woody, and it also has this playful fruitiness about it that kind of calms it down, makes it sensual, makes it warm and very inviting. Now, I'm just gonna go over some of the few notes with this fragrance. This fragrance has very interesting notes in it. One of the ones that stands out the most is blackberry. The blackberry and the tarragon and the orange in here make this fragrance very unique. It gives that fruitiness to this fragrance. And then the middle notes also make this fragrance very sensual and seductive. It has cinnamon in it, perfect for winter. It has some honey in there. Again, amazing for winter, very inviting, very warming. And then you got in your base notes, you got a lot of myrrh, which makes it very smoky. You got a good amount of musk, and you got a good amount of oak moss, ambergris, and you also have a big dose of nice oud in here. It's really nice and really well blended. So I truly love this fragrance, and I think that this fragrance is not going anywhere for a long time because I think it has this classic vibe about it. It's very beautiful, and it's a great cozy fragrance for winter. So at my number 10, it's going to be Jubilation by House of Amouage. All right, at my number 9, it's going to be Black Afgano by House of Nasomatto. Now, this is a gorgeous smoky fragrance. It's actually a woody, aromatic type of fragrance. It actually has a very nice green notes to it that balances the fragrance out really nicely. It has this warm balsamicness about it. It's smoky. It has a good dose of oud in here. It's very woody. It has this very interesting note in here that they talk about. It has this cannabis note in here, which I don't get that really in this. I mostly get this very tart balsamicness in this fragrance. It's very inky, but tart at the same time. I do get a little bit of coffee in here. I get a big dose of incense, and I get a really nice dose of oud in here. And the oud is not barnyardish or any type of a animalic oud. It's a really nice tamed oud in here that makes it very smoky, and it would be perfect for, you know, sitting with your friends, having some drinks or having some smokes. So this fragrance would be great for wintertime. It would be great for that time of the year. So at my number 9, it's going to be Black Afgano. At my number 8, it's going to be Herod by Parfums de Marly. Now, this again is another smoky fragrance that has a big dose of tobacco in here. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's also a little bit fresh at the same time, even though it has tobacco in it. It's a woody, spicy type of a fragrance. This one is one of my favorite, especially when it comes to wintertime. I would definitely choose this over Spice Bomb. It's perfect if you're with your significant other and you want to have that romantic type of an evening, and you want to have that cozy type of a fireplace type of a smell to you. This fragrance would be great. Now, this one, the accords that I get right off the bat, I get a good dose of tobacco in here. I get vanilla in here. It's sweet. It has cinnamon in it. It's kind of warm, spicy. So as I said, it's very sensual. It's very seductive. It's very gorgeous. It's just beautiful. This is one of the best fragrances from, not the best, but one of the good ones from the Parfums de Marly. I love this fragrance. It never gets old for me. It's gorgeous. What I like about this fragrance, that even though it's tobacco, when you compare it to the other fragrances, It's not too sweet heady, and it's also not too dark. It's also a little bit fresh at the same time, and that's what I love about this fragrance. Now, as I said, the major notes that you get in here, you get a good dose of cinnamon in here, you get a good dose of tobacco in here, incense, and you also get a good dose of patchouli and vanilla in this fragrance. And that's why I put this fragrance at my number 8 by Parfums de Marly Herod. At my number 7, it's going to be Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. Now, I prefer this one over the Parfums de Marly Herod because the tobacco in here, to me, it's more realistic. It reminds me on someone sitting down and smoking some tobacco out of a pipe. It kind of reminds me on an old house where someone is just sitting down having a glass of whiskey and they have their pipe on and it's snowing outside. It just has that beautiful, cozy vibe about it. But at the same time, it's a little bit too sweet because it has a big dose of vanilla in here. The vanilla makes it really sweet, but I just truly love the tobacco smell in here. This fragrance is an oriental, spicy type of fragrance. What I get a big dose of sweetness from this fragrance, big dose of tobacco in here, big dose of vanilla in here. It's warm, spicy, and fruity at the same time. The major notes in here, you get tobacco, you get vanilla, you get dried fruits, you get tonka bean, and you get some spicy notes in here. And this fragrance would be a great fragrance for Christmas time because it has this Christmas type of a smell about it as well. So that's why this fragrance is so great for winter. And that's why I have this fragrance at my number 7, Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. Now at my number 6, it's going to be Layton Exclusif by Parfums de Marly. Now this one is a gorgeous oriental fragrance. This one is a flanker to its original one, which was just Layton. To me, that one is a little bit boring. I find this one more classy, more sophisticated. It has a luxurious vibe about it. It's just a beautiful fragrance. It's perfect for winter. It's just very beautiful. It has a good dose of oud in here. It has an amazing guaiac wood in here. It has coffee in it. It has almond in it. It's very spicy. It's very bitter. And it has a gorgeous dose of civet in here that I love when it comes to fragrances. The civet makes this fragrance very unique. It makes it very, how should I say, like I said, it makes it very sophisticated. It makes it kind of classy. It's not your typical freshy shower gel type of fragrance. It just gives it an edge to this fragrance that kind of sets this fragrance apart from the other fragrances. You have to understand, a lot of people, they shy away from animalic notes, but I think if it's done right and it's done correctly in a fragrance, it makes the fragrance very unique and it makes the fragrance to stand out even better and it makes the fragrance to be even more longer lasting. So that's why I think this is a gorgeous fragrance when it comes to wintertime. The coffee note in here, the oud in here, the civet, the patchouli, the guaiac wood, and the almond, it just makes it a perfect combination for this fragrance to be just perfect for the winter time, for the time that you want to just hang out with your friends or hang out with your significant other and have that cozy, warm feeling. This one definitely will deliver that type of a feeling. It's a great fragrance, and that's why I have this fragrance at my number 6, Layton Exclusif by Parfums de Marly. At my number 5, it's going to be Tobacco Oud Intense by Tom Ford. Now, this one is a woody, spicy type of a fragrance. It's a gorgeous fragrance. Again, it's a different type of a tobacco, definitely. It's very edgy. God, you get that beautiful gourmand vibe about this fragrance at the same time. That's why it makes it very cozy. And that's why I prefer this over Tobacco Oud. Now, a lot of people, they start talking about Tobacco Oud a lot and they made Tobacco Oud very popular. Not that I have anything against it, I have Tobacco Oud. But when Tobacco Oud Intense came out, I was like, yes. Now, the fragrance became more complete. Now, this is the more complete version of tobacco oud, at least to me. What they did, they grabbed the tobacco oud and they put this beautiful gourmand layer over the top of tobacco oud. So it made it more balsamic, and it has this gourmand vibe about it. And also it has this very sexual animalicness about it, which I truly love, which I will tell you guys about the notes in this fragrance. But as I said, again, I love this fragrance. It's so beautiful. The raspberry note stands out so nicely on the initial spray. It's gorgeous. This fragrance, what you get beautiful balsamicness from this fragrance in your cords. You get a big dose of amber in this fragrance. You get beautiful woodiness in this fragrance. You get a good amount of tobacco in this fragrance. It has a leather vibe to it. It also has a big dose of oud in this fragrance. Now, the interesting notes in this fragrance, you got coriander, you got tobacco, you got a good dose of oud again, which you can definitely smell that when you spray this. And you also have raspberry in this fragrance, which is really interesting. The raspberry definitely stands out, as I said earlier. And it also has a very beautiful note in here, which a lot of people are not fond of it, which I think if it's used again correctly in the fragrance with the right amount, it makes the fragrance very sophisticated and also gives that sexuality to the fragrance that you want the fragrance to have. And this fragrance has castoreum in it. And I love that about this fragrance, because on the dry down, as the raspberry dries down and the tobacco comes out and the oud stands out more, it gets mixed with the castoreum, and it gives that very sexy type of a vibe to this fragrance, which I truly love. And I think it makes this fragrance very gorgeous. And that's why I have Tobacco Oud Intense by Tom Ford at my number 5. At my number 4, it's going to be another Oriental fragrance, and it's going to be Enigma or Creation E by Rojadov. Now, this is a gorgeous boozy fragrance, which makes it a perfect fragrance for wintertime. Especially makes it very cozy. The booziness in here, it's very comfortable, it's very warm, it's also a little bit fresh at the same time, and it makes it very cozy and inviting and very sensual at the same time. This is one of my favorite fragrances from Rojadov. I think this fragrance is so classy, it's so unique, and again, it's multi-dimensional. It starts up with this beautiful Coca-Cola vibe, and it dries down into this beautiful zesty vanilla boozy type of fragrance. So it's a gorgeous fragrance that has a life cycle to it. Now, this fragrance, when I smell it, what I get right off the bat, it's like I said, it's very boozy, it's fresh spicy, it's warm spicy at the same time, it's woody. You get a big dose of vanilla in here. The vanilla is gorgeous in this one, and it's also sweet, and it has a little bit of tobacco in here, which is not very dominant note in this fragrance. So I don't get a lot of tobacco in this fragrance, but I get more booziness and more vanilla in this fragrance. And I find that Coca-Cola opening so interesting in this fragrance. I'm gonna go over some of the notes of this fragrance. In this fragrance, you get a big dose of cognac, a big dose of vanilla, some tobacco, you get some floral notes in here, you get benzoin, you get citrus notes in here, you get ginger, and you get some black pepper in this fragrance. So as you can see, it has a lot of notes in here that are blended to perfection. And I think that's what Rojadov does the best when it comes to blending the notes. It's so hard to come out and say, oh, I smell specifically the vanilla in this fragrance, or I smell specifically the citrus or the black pepper. It's just very difficult with fragrances when it comes to Rojadov, because he blends them so well when it comes to making fragrances. Now, again, as I said earlier, this fragrance, because of the tobacco, because of the cognac note, and because of the big dose of vanilla in here, it makes this fragrance so inviting, so sensual, and so cozy at the same time. And that's why it makes it such a perfect, great fragrance for wintertime, for not even just going out, like I said, hanging out with your significant other or with your family and friends and just chilling. And that's why I think this is a gorgeous fragrance for this time of the year. And that's why I put this fragrance at my number 4, Enigma or Creation E by Rojadov. At my number 3, it's going to be an Oriental spicy fragrance, and it's going to be Amber Oud by Rojadov. Now, The reason why I say oud because that's how Rajadov spells oud on his fragrances, because that's how Arabic people say oud, they say oud. So that's one interesting fact about Rajadov when it comes to naming oud on his fragrances. Now, this fragrance is a gorgeous fragrance. It has a big dose of rose in here. The rose is done to perfection, and it also has a big dose of amber in here. The amber is beautiful, and the mixture of rose and amber makes this fragrance a perfect fragrance for winter time, and it makes it very cozy. Now, on the initial spray, what I get from this fragrance, right off the bat, it's so beautiful. I get, definitely it's very woody. That's the first thing that I get. It's definitely spicy. It has that oriental vibe about it. Very spicy, very woody. I get a big dose of amber in here. As I said, the rose, it's done to perfection. It's not tacky at all. It's gorgeous. It's warm, spicy. I get a big dose of oud, and I get a little bit of animalicness in here. So I do love the animalic vibe about this fragrance because it gives the fragrance a little bit of an edge to the fragrance. It makes it classy. It makes it luxurious. And at the same time, the smokiness of the fragrance makes this fragrance earthy and warm and type of a cozy type of fragrance. And that's why I put this fragrance at my number 3, Amber Oud by Rajadov. You definitely should get a sample and try it out because it is a gorgeous fragrance and it's blended to perfection. Now, at my number 2, it's going to be another Oriental fragrance that's very rare and it's very exotic, and that's going to be Amber Absolute by Tom Ford. Now, this one is probably one of the most beautiful amber fragrances that I put my nose on and I have in my collection. I love this amber because it's so balsamic and it's so gourmand at the same time. It's very unique. It has this very beautiful, spicy, gourmandish type of a smell to it that I truly love. It's just very unique, this fragrance, and it's very special, just like the previous one. As we get closer to my number 1, all these fragrances are very rare, very unique. They're one of a kind, at least to me, and I find this one a very gorgeous fragrance, and it's such a cozy fragrance. It's so perfect for winter time, especially if you want to hang out at home and you want to have some drinks again and you just want to chill. This is such an earthy, such a beautiful fragrance for that occasion. Now, Amber Absolute, it's been launched in 2007, but it's been taken off the market many times and it brought back as a reserve collection many times again. And every time it was brought back, it got kind of reformulated and it got weaker over time. And so it's not as its original formulation that it came out originally, but again, it's a gorgeous, beautiful fragrance. And I would say you definitely, if you love amber note, you should definitely have this in your collection. And it's a perfect fragrance for winter time. Now, what I get with this fragrance on the initial spray, it has this beautiful spiciness to it, which is gourmand at the same time. I feel like I can literally eat the fragrance. It's so good, at least to me. It's just beautiful. That's what I get. It's balsamic, it has amber in it, it's very smoky, it's vanilla, it's woody, and it's also very gourmand-like type of fragrance. And it's very earthy at the same time too. That's why I think it's such a great cozy fragrance for winter. It's very warm, it's very sensual, it's just very inviting. It's a beautiful fragrance, it's gorgeous. I love this fragrance, and if you are again into amber note, you definitely should own this fragrance. It's a beautiful fragrance. Now, some of the notes in this fragrance, obviously you have a big dose of amber in this fragrance, you have incense in this fragrance, you have labdanum, which makes this fragrance a little bit smoky and leathery at the same time, and you got some woodsy notes in this fragrance. You got a good amount of vanilla in this fragrance, and you got olibanum in this fragrance. So you got some really interesting notes in this fragrance, but there is something about this fragrance that has this very unique spiciness to it that makes it very earthy and it makes it very cozy. And that's why I have this as my number 2, Amber Absolute by Tom Ford. Now, at my number one, it's going to be an otherworldly type of fragrance that they don't even put the notes of this fragrance out there. They only put one note from this fragrance, which they put it for the top, for the middle, and base note. They don't put the other notes that it's mixed with this fragrance. That's how rare and one of a kind this fragrance is. I'm talking about Ohira by Stefan Humbert Lucas 777. This is Neptune's Amber Crown. This fragrance, if you're into ambergris, this is probably the best ambergris that you can get out there. This is just the most gorgeous ambergris that I have ever smelled. This is just unbelievable as far as the smell goes. It's so warm, it's so beautiful. I can't even explain it. You have to definitely get a sample to test this to see how it smells like. It's so difficult to describe this fragrance, but it's so unique and it's so special. Now, what I get when I spray this fragrance, it's so warm. You feel the warmness of this fragrance. It's very warm. I can't even explain it. It's warm. I feel like it's balsamic. It's woody. It definitely smells the ambergris in here. I get a little bit of saltiness. It's gourmand. It's so difficult. I feel like I'm tasting the fabric of a very expensive type of a fur or something from an animal. It's just like so difficult to explain. It's just an unbelievable type of fragrance, but it's so cozy, warm, and inviting at the same time. Now, this is, like I said, one of the best ambergris, or I should say fossilized ambergris that I have smelled. And that's what the website puts out. It says it's a fossilized ambergris, and they don't say what are the other notes in here. And it's so difficult to say what are the other notes that are mixed with this fragrance that makes it so kind of almost like it's amber, it's animalic, it's salty, it's marine-like. So it's very difficult to describe this fragrance, and that's why it's such an interesting fragrance. It is kind of a linear fragrance. It stays kind of the same, but not completely. As it dries down, you get that ambergris note to come out even more. So that's the only change that you get from this fragrance, but it's such a special fragrance. It's so beautiful. I love this fragrance. It's very unique, and I think that I haven't smelled anything close to this fragrance. That's why I have this in my number one as far as the winter and the most coziest fragrances goes. This is definitely very cozy. It's very warm. It's very inviting, and it's the perfect fragrance for winter time to hang out with your significant other or be with a bunch of your friends or your family and just be by the fireplace. This would be a great fragrance because besides, like I said, having that animalic, amber, marine-like salty vibe to it, it also has this gourmand vibe to it that smells literally yummy, and it's so good. Like when I sprayed this the first time, I had a hard time to understand the fragrance because every time I tried to put my finger on a certain type of an accord of this fragrance, I would just be like, no, it's not that. I think, no, it's this. So I would just get all these different type of vibes from this fragrance. So that's why, again, I have this fragrance at my number one, Ohira by Stefan Humbert Lucas 777 at my number one. Now, with that being said, we get to the end of my video. That's all I have for my top 10 most coziest fragrances for winter as far as the niche fragrances goes. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. You can also follow me on my Instagram, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon with another video. Peace and ciao.